Now, the acts of violence by separatists at the Hindu Sabha Temple in Ontario has yet again revealed the severity of extremism in Canada. India has called upon Canada to ensure that all places of worship are protected from such attacks.
India has strongly condemned the recent violence at the Hindu Sabha Temple in Brampton, Ontario, which was carried out by extremists and separatists on Sunday. In response, the Indian government is urging Canada to take necessary measures to protect all places of worship and to ensure that those responsible for the violence are prosecuted. The Ministry of External Affairs stated that the intimidation and harassment faced by Indian consular officers will not hinder their outreach efforts. They remain committed to providing services to both Indian and Canadian citizens. The clashes occurred during a consular camp organized in collaboration with Hindu Sabha Mandir, highlighting the need for enhanced security and protection for places of worship. The Indian High Commission in Canada also highlighted similar disruptions during the consular camps held in Vancouver and Surrey on Saturday and Sunday. The incident has sparked widespread outrage both in Canada and abroad. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau condemned the attack, reaffirming the importance of religious freedom. While Canadian opposition leader Pierre Poilievre called the attack as unacceptable, Toronto MP Kevin Vogue also condemned the attack and asserted that Canada has become a safe harbor for radicals and asserted that the country's leaders have failed to protect Hindus. Canadian Member of Parliament Chandra Arya also condemned the attack on the temple, saying that a red line has been crossed by extremists. Local police has arrested 3 in connection with the incident and are being criminally charged for their actions. The recent attack adds to a string of similar incidents documented in recent years, underscoring a distressing trend of religious intolerance. Bureau Report, DD India.
And DD India's Meghna Dev has been tracking all the developments as far as this incident is concerned. Meghna, first up, very strong language used by India in condemning the incident and calling upon the Canadian government to ensure that proper security is maintained at such events. It's their responsibility, and that has really underlined how things are going right now as far as the overall India-Canada relations are also concerned.
Yes, Gautam, the Ministry of External Affairs had earlier also stated that the behavioral pattern that Canada is showing will have serious consequences on the bilateral ties. And this is something just exactly what India has reiterated again. Now, what we also definitely see is that, something that like a consular camp is nothing very unique. It is a regular thing that happens, especially for the Indian diaspora to get them to give them life certificates and more documentation processes. And this is a vital document used for pensions and other, for other important processes. So very importantly, this was just a consular camp. But in advance, it is obviously communicated that the consulate will be holding a consular camp at this place at this time, from this to this time, and these many people would be expected to come. And whatever, if we talk about this entire process. Now, besides that, when we actually see that the security situation there deteriorated, we saw, we saw violence there, and we also saw the visuals coming in. Definitely did see that how the situation went quite out of hand, and the police officials were not able to handle the situation. The protesters were really violent at that place, and this creates a very important, image that are not only the consular officials, the officials of the consulate are unsafe, but besides that, the Indian nationals also are unsafe at that place. Unsafe at that place. So definitely, it is a very important aspect. Need not to say that the Canadian authorities must probe into the situation. And it happened at the Hindu Sabha Temple. It is a festive season. There are many people who go to visit, the temples specifically during this, this week or probably this season. So this is something that has to be looked into, because it's not only about the safety of the consular officials, which India has been time and again reiterating and time and again asking Canada that it is not still abiding by what the diplomatic or consular conventions.
Yes, clearly, because, it's not just about this particular attack. The Ministry of External Affairs has highlighted that similar incidents took place on Saturday and Sunday in Surrey and one other location as well in Vancouver. And only 3 people arrested so far. Even in the pictures, you can clearly see that it's more like 30, not 3.
Absolutely, and the Canadian authorities cannot get away by saying that this is just probably people have the freedom of protest, or people have this freedom of speech. And time and again, India has been asking Canada that not only at this point of time, but earlier also, when there were death threats, intimidation given to our high commissioners and our diplomats. That time around also, India had asked Canadian authorities, the Canadian government, to look into the situation, but Canadian government had again passed it for the sake of freedom of speech or freedom of protest. So this is something that definitely is important. And when now we are seeing that in the past few days also there has been many things that have come up. For example, allegations or uninsinuated, probably fake, we can say statements actually leaked into the international media to paint India's picture in a wrong sense, or to probably smear India for political gains against the Union Home Minister for that matter. Not only that, tapping or probably having a surveillance on the phone calls and communication by the consular officials, consulate officials or diplomats. That is something very probably, if we can say, that is something that India has taken very seriously. And also gave a diplomatic note to Canada that this is something that India will not take in good spirit, and also serious concerns. This will have serious concerns on diplomatic ties, is what India had said.
Well, definitely, and one would have to think about the safety of people there as well in Canada, be they those who work for the High Commission or the consulates, or even other people of Indian origin there. Thanks a lot for the moment, for joining us, Meghna, Dev.